You sit on your velvet sofa, you watch true crime. You tell yourself, I could survive that. I'd be the alpha. Spoiler alert, my soft friend. You wouldn't. You panic when the Wi-Fi is slow. You think prison is a movie starring you. It isn't. It is a mathematical equation of violence, and you are the variable that gets subtracted. You bought the Hollywood lie. Today, we burn the receipt. Welcome to the concrete jungle.
We have all seen the movies. The hero walks in. He beats up the giant. He escapes through a tunnel. It is great entertainment. It is also a suicide manual. The American prison system houses nearly 2 million people. It is a hidden country with its own brutal constitution. Believing the stereotypes doesn't just make you look stupid. Inside, these myths are death sentences. Here are the 30 prison myths you still believe. Myth 1. Punch the biggest guy on day one. This is the oldest, dumbest piece of advice in the history of bad ideas. Hollywood loves this trope. The new fish knocks out the giant to assert dominance. In reality, the biggest guy isn't just a gym rat. He is likely a high-ranking member of a gang faction. He is a protected asset. If you touch him, you aren't fighting one man. You are declaring war on an entire organization. You will be green-lit instantly, meaning there is an open contract on your life. You won't get respect. You will get stabbed by 3 different people in the shower before you can even ice your knuckles. The smartest survival tactic isn't violence, it's being invisible. Myth 2. Don't drop the soap. Accidental assault. We have to address this because every bad comedian has made this joke since 1970. The myth suggests that violence in prison is a result of clumsiness. Oops, the soap fell. Now my life is over. This is a dangerous trivialization. In reality, assault in prison is rarely random. It is calculated. It is about power, debt, and extortion. It happens because you borrowed chips you couldn't pay back, or because you gambled and lost. It is a transaction of dominance, not a slapstick comedy routine. By joking about dropping the soap, you are ignoring the complex and terrifying political structure of prison debt. Keep your soap in a sock if you want, but you should be more worried about who you owe money to than gravity. Myth 3. Everyone has a shiv. Weapon. Movies make it look like every inmate is walking around with a sword tucked into their waistband. While it is true that weapons exist, the idea that everyone is armed 24/7 is a myth. Why? Because of the shakedown. Corrections officers toss cells regularly. If you are caught with a weapon, you catch a new felony charge and a ticket to the hole. Most inmates just want to do their time and go home. Carrying a weapon is a massive liability. Weapons are usually stashed in common areas or held by specific soldiers only when a hit is ordered. You are not walking into a knife fight every time you go to breakfast. Most violence is handled with fists, because fists don't add 5 years to your sentence. Myth 4. You must join a gang. Immediately you arrive and you think you must pledge allegiance to a gang like it's a violent fraternity rush week. This is false. While race defines where you sit, we will get to that, you do not have to become a member. In fact, joining a gang is the quickest way to extend your sentence. Once you are in a car, you lose your free will. If the shot caller tells you to smuggle drugs or stab a rival, you have to do it. If you refuse, your own gang will discipline you. Many inmates survive just fine as independents or neutrals. If you are respectful, mind your business, and stay in your lane, you can do your time without answering to a warlord. Joining a gang isn't protection. It's slavery with better tattoos. Myth 5. Snitches always get stitches. The rhyme is catchy. Snitches get stitches. It implies a universal code of silence where every informant is executed. This is a romanticized mafia fantasy. The ugly truth? Prisons are full of rats, and they are living comfortably. In the modern federal system, information is currency. High-level snitches often cut deals for better food or transfer to a safer facility. There are entire wings of prisons dedicated to protective custody, PC, nicknamed Snitch City, where informants play cards and watch TV, safe from the general population. Furthermore, some of the biggest shot callers are the biggest snitches, feeding info to the guards to eliminate rivals. The code of silence is a lie they tell the low-level soldiers to keep them loyal. Myth 6. Prison is a constant riot. If you watch Oz or action movies, you think the alarm is always blaring, mattresses are burning, and people are screaming. The reality of prison is much more terrifying. It is aggressive boredom. 99% of your time is spent doing absolutely nothing. You count the cracks in the ceiling. You reread a magazine from 2004. It is Groundhog Day in hell. This boredom is dangerous because it makes you complacent. You let your guard down because nothing has happened for 3 months. That is exactly when the violence happens. It comes out of nowhere, a flash of violence in the chow hall, and then it's over, and you go back to staring at the wall. The hardest part isn't the fighting, it's the waiting. Myth 7. Solitary confinement is a break. You might think, I hate my roommate, I'd love some alone time. Solitary sounds like a vacation. You have no idea what you are talking about. The segregated housing unit, SHU, or the hole, is not a break. It is psychological torture. You are in a concrete box the size of a parking space for 23 hours a day. There is no TV, no books, no human contact. The silence is so loud it screams. After a few days, your sleep cycle breaks. After a few weeks, you start hallucinating. Grown men, hardened criminals who have killed people, will weep like children begging to be let out. You don't come out of the hole rested. You come out damaged, paranoid, and often permanently mentally ill. It is not a hotel room, it is a coffin with a toilet. Myth 8. Muscles rule the yard. You think the guy with the 20-inch biceps is the boss. He must be. Look at him. Wrong. In the hierarchy of prison, muscles are just tools. The real power lies with the shot callers, and they often look like your grandfather. They are older, smarter, and politically connected. They have the juice, the influence with the guards, the connection to the outside world, and the money on the books. A 60-year-old skinny man can lift a finger and have the 250-pound bodybuilder stabbed in the neck. Brains, manipulation, and economic power always trump brute strength. The bodybuilder is just a gladiator. The old man reading the newspaper in the corner is the emperor. Never underestimate the guy who looks harmless. Myth 9. Cigarettes are the main currency. This is a classic trope from the 1990s. In the movies, everyone is trading Marlboros. In reality, tobacco has been banned in federal prisons and most state facilities for nearly 2 decades. If you have cigarettes, you are sitting on contraband worth a fortune, but you can't use them as small change. So, what is the new dollar? The mackerel, packets of fish, and soups, ramen noodles. Why? Because they have a stable value, they are sealed, and they are essential for survival when the cafeteria food is inedible. A haircut might cost 2 max. A protection fee might be 10 soups. The economy has shifted from nicotine to sodium. If you go in stocking up on smokes, you're broke. If you have a locker full of ramen, you are a banker. Myth 10. You only get one phone call. You get arrested, and the cop dramatically hands you a phone for your one phone call. This is pure fiction. In the intake process, you might get access to a phone to arrange bail, and it's rarely limited to exactly one attempt. Once you are actually in prison, you have access to phones during recreation hours. In fact, the prison phone system is a massive predatory business. Companies like GTL charge exorbitant rates for collect calls. As long as you have money on your books, you can make calls. The limitation isn't the law, it's your wallet. You can call your lawyer, your mom, and your girlfriend, provided you are willing to pay $15 for a 15-minute chat that is being recorded by the warden. Myth 11. Everyone wears orange jumpsuits. Think orange is the new black for this one. You expect a sea of bright orange. In reality, Orange is usually reserved for the intake process, transportation, or high-risk segregation units. It's a color designed for visibility during a potential escape. Once you are processed into general population, you are likely wearing scrubs. The colors vary by state and security level. Federal inmates often wear khaki. State inmates might wear blue, gray, or even white. In some humiliating cases, like the famous Sheriff Joe Arpaio's jails in Arizona, inmates were forced to wear pink underwear. But if you walk into a standard cell block expecting a Halloween party, you'll be disappointed. You'll mostly see depressed men in ill-fitting beige pajamas. Myth 12. Prison food is just bread and water. You imagine inmates starving, gnawing on a crust of bread. The reality is actually worse, but in a different way. You aren't starved, you are slowly poisoned with carbohydrates. The prison diet is designed to keep you alive for the lowest possible cost. It is a mass of processed soy, starch, and filler. It's called the loaf in some places. The result? Inmates don't get skinny, they get fat. They get prison spread, puffy faces and distended bellies from high sodium and zero nutrition. This creates a health crisis of diabetes and heart disease. You won't die of hunger, but you might die of a clogged artery at age 45. It is weaponized nutrition, designed to make you sluggish, docile, and sick. Myth 13. Commissary is cheap. You think, well, I'll just buy food at the prison store. You assume the prices are low because inmates earn pennies. Wrong. The prison commissary is a captive monopoly. There is no Walmart to compete with. They can charge whatever they want. A bar of soap that costs 50 cents at Target might cost $2 inside. A bag of chips is marked up 200%. It is a billion-dollar industry that extracts wealth from the poorest families in America, who are the ones sending money to the inmates' accounts. It is predatory capitalism at its finest. You are forced to buy from the company that is keeping you locked up. Imagine paying rent to your kidnapper. That is the commissary system. Myth 14. There are no smartphones inside. You think prison is a digital dead zone. No internet, no Instagram. In reality, there are more cell phones in some prisons than in a high school cafeteria. Smartphones are the #1 contraband item. They are smuggled in by corrupt guards, thrown over fences in footballs, or flown in by drones. Inmates have TikTok accounts. They FaceTime their girlfriends. They run criminal empires from their bunks using WhatsApp. The signal is real. Of course, getting caught with one is a major offense, but the demand is so high that the supply never stops. Some inmates have better connectivity than you do in your rural cabin. The walls keep the bodies in, but the data flows freely. Myth 15. The lights go out at night. You picture the guard flipping a switch and the cell block plunging into darkness for a good night's sleep. Think again. In many facilities, the lights never fully turn off. They are dimmed or kept on for security counts. Imagine trying to sleep under a fluorescent buzz 24/7. It destroys your circadian rhythm. Inmates learn to sleep with towels wrapped around their heads or t-shirts over their eyes. It is a subtle form of torture. You never truly rest. You are always illuminated, always watched, always visible. The concept of night does not exist in the traditional sense. It is just endless, illuminated time. Myth 16. Race doesn't matter if you're cool. This is the most dangerous myth for a new inmate. In the outside world, we strive for equality. Inside the American prison system, specifically in state pens and federal facilities, segregation is the absolute law. It is called politics. Whites sit with whites, blacks with blacks, Latinos with Latinos. You do not share food with another race. You do not use their shower. You do not sit at their table. If you are a white guy and you sit at a black table because you want to be friendly, you will get beaten by the white guys for being a race traitor, and the black guys won't respect you either. It is strict tribal warfare. Leave your liberal arts degree at the door. Inside, it is 1950s segregation, enforced by Shanks. Myth 17. You can make friends with the guards. You think, if I'm nice to the CO, he'll treat me well. Fatal error. Corrections officers are not your friends. If you are seen chatting, laughing, or being too friendly with a guard, the other inmates will label you a rat or a CI, confidential informant. You become suspicious. On the flip side, the guard is likely manipulating you to get information. It is a game where you lose on both sides. The best relationship with a guard is professional, brief, and distant. Yes, sir. No, sir. And keep moving. Do not ask about his weekend. Do not talk about sports. Any connection is a weakness that will be exploited by the convicts or the administration. Myth 18. Pruno, toilet wine, tastes like wine. Movies show inmates having a party with homemade booze. You might think it's just rough wine. The reality of Pruno is revolting. It is made by fermenting fruit cocktail, ketchup, bread for yeast, and piles of sugar in a plastic trash bag, often hidden in a toilet tank to keep it warm. It smells like rotting garbage and tastes like vomit mixed with rubbing alcohol. But the taste isn't the problem. The bacteria is. Pruno is a leading cause of botulism outbreaks in prison. Inmates risk paralysis and death just to catch a buzz. It's not a party. It's an act of desperation by addicts willing to drink rotting slime to escape their reality for an hour. Myth 19. You can work out all day. You picture the prison yard filled with guys bench pressing 400 pounds. While fitness is huge, the era of heavy metal weights is largely over. In the 90s, many prisons removed free weights because inmates were getting too strong, literally capable of overpowering guards, and using the plates as armor or weapons during riots. Today, the workout is calisthenics. Burpees. Thousands of burpees. Push-ups. Pull-ups on the bunk frame. Inmates fill trash bags with water to create resistance. You have to be creative to get swole. If you walk in expecting a Gold's Gym, you're in for a surprise. You are going to be doing jumping jacks until you vomit. Myth 20. Don't look anyone in the eye. You are told to keep your head down and look at the floor to avoid trouble. This is wrong. In prison body language, looking at the floor means you are scared. It means you are submission material. You are prey. On the other hand, staring someone down, mad dogging, is a challenge to a fight. You have to find the balance. You acknowledge a person with a brief, firm look and a nod, then you keep moving. It says, I see you, I am not afraid, but I am not looking for trouble. It is a subtle social dance. Walking around staring at your shoes is basically wearing a sign that says, please rob me. Myth 21. Fish are always beaten up. The fresh fish. The new guy. You think you will be run through a gauntlet of abuse the moment you step off the bus. Usually, this is false. Unless you have bad charges, crimes against children or women, most old heads will leave you alone. They might even help you. Why? Because a nervous, unpredictable new guy is dangerous to everyone. They want you to learn the routine, shut up, and blend in. If you are clean, respectful, and don't act tough, you will likely be ignored. The abuse is reserved for the loudmouths, the debtors, and the deviants. Nobody wants to waste energy beating up a nobody who follows the rules. Myth 22. Pedophiles survive in Gen Pop. You see movies where the creepy guy sits in the corner. In reality, inmates have a strict moral code and crimes against children are at the bottom. Chomos, child molesters, are KOS. Kill on sight. If a prisoner's paperwork, jacket, reveals he touched a kid, he will not last the day in general population. The other inmates will hurt him, not just because they hate him, but because hurting him earns them points and respect with their gang. These offenders almost always check into protective custody immediately. The idea that they walk the yard with everyone else is a myth. The prison justice system is far harsher on them than the judge was. Myth 23. Public defenders are useless. I need a real lawyer, not a public pretender. This is the common cry. And while public defenders are overworked and underpaid, the myth that they are useless is dangerous. Often, a public defender knows the judge, the prosecutor, and the system better than a high-priced private attorney from out of town. The legal system is a deal-making machine. 95% of cases end in a plea bargain. A public defender is a deal broker. If you fire them to represent yourself because you read a law book, you are a fool. You will get crushed. The system is an assembly line, and the public defender is the only one who knows where the emergency stop button is, even if they only have 5 minutes to push it. Myth 24. CSI solves every crime. You watch CSI Miami and think you'll get caught because of a microscopic fiber found on a doorknob. This is science fiction. In the real world, forensic labs are backlogged for years. DNA evidence is rarely the smoking gun in average cases. Most people go to prison for 2 reasons. They confessed because police tricked them during interrogation, or their friends snitched on them to get a lighter sentence. It's not high-tech science, it's low-tech betrayal. You aren't caught by a laser scanner, you're caught because you talked too much on the phone. Myth 25. Escape is like the Shawshank Redemption. You dream of digging a tunnel with a rock hammer for 20 years. That is Hollywood romance. Modern prisons are built of reinforced concrete and sensors. You aren't digging anywhere. Most escapes in the US are actually walkaways from minimum security camps where there are no fences. An inmate just walks into the woods. And guess what? They almost always get caught. And when they do, they are sent to a maximum security facility, and their sentence is doubled. Trying to escape is the single worst investment of time you can make. The days of the elaborate tunnel breakout are over. Now the walls are digital, and the sensors perceive heat. You are staying put. Myth 26. Minimum security is a resort. People call it Camp Cupcake. They think white-collar criminals play tennis all day. While it's true they aren't getting stabbed in the showers, it is still prison. You are the property of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. You are told when to eat, when to sleep, and when to stand up. You have no autonomy. You are stripped of your identity. If you talk back to a guard, or if they find a grape in your pocket, stolen fruit is contraband, you can be shipped to a higher security prison instantly. The psychological weight of being owned by the state is heavy, even if there are no bars on the windows. It's not a hotel. It's a very polite cage. Myth 27. You serve exactly what the judge says. 10 years. The gavel bangs. You think you are gone for a decade. This is rarely true. The U.S. system relies heavily on good time credits. In the federal system, you serve 85% of your time if you behave. In state prisons, due to overcrowding, it can be 50% or even less. The system is a warehouse that is too full. They need your bed for the next guy. The game isn't serving time, it's earning credits. If you fight and act tough, you lose your good time. You are literally trading your ego for years of your life. The smart inmate swallows his pride to get out 3 years early. Myth 28. Conjugal visits are common. You think you can have your spouse visit for a private night in a trailer. This is almost entirely extinct. In the federal system, never happens. In state prisons, only 4 states, California, Connecticut, New York, and Washington, still allow family overnight visits. For the other 95% of inmates, physical intimacy is gone forever. You will communicate through glass or, if you are lucky, a brief hug in a crowded room. The deprivation of touch is one of the most punishing aspects of the sentence, leading to deep depression and the destruction of marriages. Your wife isn't coming for the weekend. She's probably filing for divorce. Myth 29. Prison reforms you. The sign on the building says, Department of Corrections. The myth is that they correct you. The reality is that prison is gladiator school. You go in for stealing a car, grand theft auto. You are placed in a cell with a cartel hitman and a master fraudster. You don't learn how to be a carpenter. You learn how to smuggle drugs, how to launder money, and how to stab someone without making a sound. You enter as an amateur criminal, and you graduate as a professional. The recidivism rate, people returning to prison, in the US is nearly 70% within 3 years. The system doesn't fix the toy, it breaks it further and throws it back in the box. Myth 30. Your sentence ends when you leave. The biggest myth of all is that once you walk out the gate, you are free. You are never free. You carry the mark of the beast, the felony record. In the US, this is a civil death sentence. You cannot vote in many states. You cannot own a gun. You cannot get a student loan. Most landlords won't rent to you. Most employers won't hire you. You are permanently a second-class citizen. You served your time, but society continues to punish you until the day you die. The prison doesn't end at the gate. The walls just become invisible. And there you have it. 30 comforting lies you told yourself, shattered on the floor. You think you are better than them? You think you are safe? You are just one bad day, one traffic stop, one misunderstood tax form away from wearing those scrubs. The line between the citizen and the inmate is drawn in chalk, and it rains every day. You live in a prison of debt, of expectation, of surveillance. You just have a longer leash. Enjoy your freedom, my friend. Walk to your fridge. Open it. Look at the light. And ask yourself, who is really controlling the switch? I'll see you in the next episode. Or, I'll see you in the yard.